In this video, I really want to just talk about the bait and switch method of bass fishing. Now that's just kind of the silly name that I have for it, but really this is just a way of fishing that helps you to maximize the areas that you fish, to really be able to catch the most fish and the biggest fish that are in certain areas, whether that's a little pond or a big lake. And so this is nothing that's earth-shattering or new or groundbreaking, but it is something that a lot of us anglers don't always think about. We're not always cognizant of it when we're out there on the water. So in this video, I'm gonna talk specifically about that. Now, before we get into it, I kind of have a special announcement for you guys. I have actually created a page over on the fin fishing website that is called BFHQ Top Products. And basically, I'm going to be putting products on there that are either unique or exclusive to the fin fishing website. So this is something that I'm going to be working on over the next year with some different companies on unique products or exclusive products. And one of the first products that I actually just put on there is Buzzeroc's Blood Stop Formula. So this is a product that, like I said, you can pick it up at Fin Fishing. I'm also going to tell you about how you can get this for free in just a minute. But anyways, what's cool about this formula is that it's actually scientifically proven to stop a bleeding fish. For a number of years, I have always used Mountain Dew, which I think has worked pretty good. But you also have to buy a $2 Mountain Dew every single day that you go out fishing, or at least I usually do. And it's not technically scientifically proven to work. And that's actually Buzzeroc's Blood Stop Formula is. As a matter of fact, they say that it gives the fish an 85% better chance of survival if it is bleeding. You can also get 400 sprays. It comes in a little canister. You spray it right on the infected or the place where it's bleeding, and it helps to stop that bleeding and helps the fish to live. So you can pick this up over at the Fin Fishing website. Also, for the month of March, which starts today, obviously, if you buy either a USA-made sun short or a pair of the new duck shorts, you can get this for free. So all you got to do, add the sun shirt or add the duck shorts to your cart. Also add this to cart, and this will be automatically discounted. So it's a $13 product. Absolutely free. It's a really unique product. And so anyways, you can also just pick it up if you want to do that as well. I'm gonna leave links down below in the description. Thank you guys for all of you who have shopped at Fin Fishing. I truly appreciate it. All right, sorry to be so long-winded about all that. So let's anyways talk about the bait and switch method. So basically, like I said, this is a way of fishing that really helps you to maximize your areas that you fish. Now, this works best when you kind of know that you are around fish, or maybe you are fishing a pond. This is something I used to do all the time in a pond. Maybe you're fishing a pond and you've kind of gone around it once or twice and you've caught fish on a certain bait, and you know that there's more fish to be caught. But the thing is that fish do get used to the baits. If you show a fish multiple times, especially in a day, the same bait, and he doesn't react to it, a lot of times that fish is just not in the mood. And as we know as anglers, different fish are going to be triggered by different things. And so when you get out there on the water, you know, simply changing up your baits, switching up the lures that you fish can be a really big deal as to getting more bites. And it's not always about switching up your baits. Sometimes, and what I think is the most important thing that you can do, is actually switch up the sound of your baits. And so I really want to just kind of go through the process with you guys of kind of how I do the bait and switch, how I switch up lures. Now, like I said, the first thing that I'm going to do, if I'm using a bait that has a lot of rattle or noise to it, for example, like a crankbait, a lot of times if I catch a lot of fish in a certain area and then all of a sudden they stop biting that crankbait, literally just switching to that exact same crankbait that comes in a silent version, which not all crankbaits do this, but there are crankbaits out there that are silent. Going from something that rattles a lot to something that is silent, I'm telling you, it can make the biggest difference in the world when it comes to catching fish. Just like 2 years ago, I was on a really good deep crank bite, and I pulled up to this one little spot and I caught like 3 fish pretty quick on a normal crankbait. But I had with me the exact same crankbait that was a silent version and one that was a rattling version. The one that I used first was that rattling version, and I would have swore to you that there was no more fish on this particular spot. And that's when I picked up the silent version. And I'm telling you what, I started casting out there, and I'm telling you, for 20 minutes straight, I caught fish after fish after fish after fish. It was ridiculous. Like, it was almost every single cast. I mean, literally every 3 casts minimally, I would catch a fish. And like I said, if I had not switched up baits at that moment, I would have told you there was no more fish left on this place, because I had cast that rattling crankbait, caught a handful of fish, and then it just quit. No matter where I cast for like 20 minutes, not a fish. Switched over to the silent version, and it was bam. It was automatic for 20. It was crazy. It was one of the best 20-minute segments of my life. And again, it was all about rattles. And so when you get to certain lakes out there, sometimes rattles versus no rattles makes a humongous difference. Also, different sound frequencies. I hate to get into the weeds a little bit, but I do find it to be that important at times. I have been fishing on lakes before where you're on a good chatterbait bite, but the type of chatterbait or the type of bladed jig that you are using can make a tremendous difference on the number of bites that you get. Because if you listen to the chatterbaits underwater, and I did a full video all about this, they all have very unique different sounds. The jackhammer under the water, which is the most popular chatterbait out there, it sounds like a jackhammer. It's a very unique noise. Now, if you guys have noticed that there's a new chatterbait out. It's called the Chatterbait Evo, and it's made with a tungsten head. Now, that blade hitting a tungsten head makes a lot different noise than it hitting a lead head. And also, you also have different chatterbaits with smaller blades. Like, for example, I love a Chatterbait Mini Max. That has a lot different vibration than either one of the other baits that I just talked about. And so sometimes switching up baits simply with vibration, man, it can really help you to catch a lot more fish. The other thing is simply switching up colors. We talked a little bit about noise. The other thing that I want to talk about is colors, because I have seen this on a couple occasions where color changes and ones that don't always make sense actually make a huge difference on the number of bites that you get. I just talked about it not too long ago, but I was fishing on a lake in New York this year that had pretty clear water, and I had caught a ton of fish in this one particular area. So many fish that I ran out of the packs of baits that I was using. And I was using a very green pumpkin natural colored bait because it was clear water. So I had the same bait in a black and blue. And although I didn't want to throw black and blue in that color, I thought, why not? Like, why not do it? I'm telling you what, I threw that black and blue the rest of the day, and it seemed like the average fish that I caught weighed a half a pound more. Like, it just seemed like that black and blue was getting the bigger ones to commit. And I can't sit here and tell you why, but it was a big difference. Now, I'm not big in the color game. Like, I'm not going to tell you that black with a blue flake would have caught them better than black with no flake in it. I think that going from one kind of hue to another, going from that green pumpkin natural to that black and blue color, that is what made the biggest difference here. So sometimes switching up colors, I've also seen that. I was fishing on Lake Apopka a number of years ago down in Florida. Me and my uncle were fishing. I was fishing, again, a natural color. He was fishing a black and blue color, and we were both equally catching a lot of fish the exact same. And so switching up colors, especially switching up hues of colors, going from natural to black or from black to natural, that can make a very big difference. Now, the other thing that I always suggest to do in an area is go from fishing a vertical bait to a horizontal bait or vice versa. If you find fish in an area where you're catching them, for example, on what I would consider a vertical bait, like a bait that you cast out, it drops vertically into the water column and you work it across the bottom. Baits like a jig, baits like a Carolina rig, baits like a Texas rig. If you're catching them on those baits and you stop getting bit, Pick up a bait that is a horizontal bait, a jerk bait, a crank bait, a swim bait, and throw those things out there, because sometimes having a vertical presentation versus that horizontal presentation, a bait that's on the bottom versus a bait that's moving super quick, that can make a humongous difference again in the number of bites that you can get. So when you are around a school of fish, I don't really suggest doing this if you don't know that you're around a group of fish, or maybe you're fishing a pond that just has a ton of fish. That's a great time to also experiment. Experiment with colors, experiment with noise, experiment with different types of lures. And it's always interesting to me to see what one actually produces either bigger fish or more fish, because you will see that at times. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Like, let's just be honest, sometimes it doesn't matter, but sometimes it makes a huge difference. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you tomorrow.